Welcome to UpCloseTV, brought to you by the Department of Communications and Community Engagement. This program takes a closer look at AISD's programs and departments. Welcome to UpCloseTV. I'm your host, Linda Medina Lopez. Joining us today is the Director of Early Childhood, Jackie Porter. Jackie, thank you for joining us today.
Absolutely. I'm thrilled to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Of course. Can you share with us what your department does and what your role is?
So AISD provides developmentally appropriate hands-on education for young children that's intentional, it's purposeful, and it's aligned to state standards to ensure their academic success. And my role is to work with parents as partners and teachers and administrators and support staff to ensure that the program is all that it needs to be.
How long have you been with the school district?
I started in Austin ISD in 1990, so it's been a while. I've taught pre-K in AISD. I've also taught kindergarten in another district and first grade in AISD. And this is my 6th year in my current role as director.
Describe to us, what is your favorite childhood memory of your son?
So one of my favorite memories of my son had to do with writing and literacy. When he was little, I'm a list taker. I like to make lists and check off when things are done. And so I modeled that for him, and I would tell him I'm writing my grocery list and I'm putting strawberries on there, so that'll help me remember that you wanted strawberries when we get to the grocery store. And so I remember taking him one day and saying, here's your own paper at about age 3 and make your own list. Well, he kind of looked at me and then he took the paper and left it. But I made sure to take the paper to the store, and you know how kids are at the store. He's like, can we have this? Can we buy this? Oh, look, there's nothing on your list. It's not on there, so we shouldn't buy it. We buy the things that are on the list. So the next week, he made sure to make some marks on his list. And then when we went to the store, he said, can we buy this? I'm like, oh yeah, see, your list says cucumbers. And I crossed that off. And I just loved the look on his face like, really? That's what that said? But he was really excited about checking off and knowing that what he wanted we could purchase because it was on his list. And then, of course, as he got a little older, I would help him with strawberry starts with S, or it's like 3 letters that work together to say st-er. And we put those down. But just helping him to understand that words have meaning. But that very first light bulb moment when he realized, when I make marks on the paper, it really does something. That was a favorite memory for me.
Those are great opportunities for parents to engage in their child's learning.
Absolutely.
What are some other ways that parents can be teaching at home over the breaks, on the weekends?
Well, just I think every time you're with your child should be a time of conversation. Either you're talking to them or they're talking to you, and are asking questions. What do you think about that? And why do you think that is that way? Or if your child is young and isn't speaking much, then talking to them and talking about what you're doing. It's kind of like the Mr. Fred Rogers approach, where he would say, I'm walking across the floor, I'm taking off my shoes. I mean, Mr. Rogers was incredible at instilling vocabulary in young children, and that's what parents are doing when they talk about what they're doing. I'm sitting at the table. Would you like to sit at the table too? Many times we think children have vocabulary words that they don't actually have because they don't actually use them. They listen to us use them.
What are some of the current pre-K programs that AISD has?
So AISD has a 4-year-old pre-K program that we've run since 1985. The state actually funds a half-day program, but in AISD, our board feels very strongly about time for pre-kindergartners to learn. And AISD funds the other half of the day so that our young children, our 4-year-olds, have a full day of pre-K. We also have a tuition pre-K program for children who aren't eligible for the free program, and parents can pay to allow their child to attend. And then we also piloted this year a 3-year-old program that's half day.
How does a family register their child for any of these programs?
So if you're wanting to register for the pre-K program, that's free. there are 5 different ways that a family could qualify. They could qualify by income. If they qualified for free or reduced lunch, they would qualify for free pre-K. If they qualify by being homeless, or if the child's been in the CPS system, or if it's an active military member or a military member that was injured or killed in duty, that member's child would be able to attend pre-K for free. And that's all across the state. So if a child qualifies by any of those measures, then they would qualify for free pre-K. If they don't, then the parent can sign up for a tuition program at 23 of our elementary campuses. And those are all on the website. And the parent can choose the one that might fit best for them. So might be the one that's closest to my work and not necessarily the one in my neighborhood. And that runs by a lottery system. It happens every March. So beginning in January, parents can put in their application for that. And even if it's after March and the lottery has already run, if there are spaces available in the school that they want to attend, a parent can apply to attend in one of those schools.
Speaking of registration, how can parents register? Where can they register?
So AISD has pre-kindergarten on 69 of our elementary campuses. So a parent can go to their neighborhood school and can fill out registration. It begins the first week in April. So a parent can go in April. They'll need to take a birth certificate with them, a copy of the child's immunization record. But when they go, if they're qualifying by income, they'll want to take a utility bill and a check stub. So proof of residence and proof of income. And then they just go to their neighborhood school. For some parents, that might be their first, pre-K might be their first foray into the public school system. So if they're not sure of their neighborhood school, they can look on our website and find that, or they can simply call our office at 512-414-PRE-K, and we'll help them find the school for them to register.
So why should parents register their children for pre-K? I know it's optional, but what are the advantages?
So pre-K is a special program that helps students be ready for kindergarten when they get to kindergarten. So pre-K is it's very different than it used to be. It's no longer about like just shapes and letters and numbers. It's about giving children time to problem solve and to think deeply and to reason and to analyze. The state of Texas has 11 different domains of guidelines and standards for pre-kindergarten students to know in order to be successful in their foundation of learning for going to kindergarten. And that's what the pre-K program does for them.
On a personal note, what is your favorite childhood book?
Oh, my favorite childhood book is Corduroy. I just have always loved that book since I was little. But my favorite childhood book now, as an adult, is a book called Selma by Jetta Bauer. It's about a sheep, and it talks about the little sheep is happy. Her idea of happiness is spending time with her family, talking to her neighbor, eating a little grass, and getting a lot of sleep. And so that's her idea of happiness. And then the book asks her, well, what would change if you had more time? What would you do? And she says the exact same things. And I said, what if you won the lottery? What would you do then differently? And she says the exact same things. Basically what it comes down to is being happy where you are and with what you have. And so just being in a content space. And I like that message.
Share with us, why is it important for children to go to pre-K every day?
Attendance matters. Obviously, we can't teach your child if your child isn't at school. So if they are well, we would like for them to be at school. And what I used to tell the kids in my class is, we miss you when you're not here, and we miss your ideas and what you bring to our classroom. And then you miss us when you're not here. You miss our ideas and what we bring to the classroom. And so it's important that you're here every day that you're not sick so that we can have your input and that you can have our input. We have 180 days together, and that's it. And then after that, we won't be together ever again like this. So it's important that you're here for each of those days, and each of those days is special. But on the parent side of that, I would say you are, as a parent, you are laying patterns for your child at a very young age. And brain development tells us that when you do something repetitively that way, it lays a pattern in the child's brain that will stay with them for life. It's very difficult to change those patterns. So you want to be really careful about the patterns you set with attendance and helping them to understand this is what we do each day. This is how we learn and grow and work together with your friends and teachers so that you can learn. And we want the child's pattern to be of lifelong learning and wanting to learn every day. And so the parent that lays that foundation in pre-K has way less trouble in middle school and high school with children who aren't engaged and who aren't connected and who may not want to attend school at that time. So it's all about connecting early and helping your child understand the importance of connecting to the school and their peers.
Do you have any data or research that shows that pre-K helps the students' learning or development?
There's a great deal of research on the return of investment for pre-K. For the money, for every $3 that we put into pre-K, it's between $7 and a $14 return on investment in children who aren't mislabeled in special ed and spend time in the special ed system, or children who aren't retained, or children who don't get what they need in their learning and struggle. It's a lifelong struggle. But AISD also has, and parents can check that out on the website, AISD also has information on the gains that children make in pre-K each year. Many of our kids come to us on average with a vocabulary of a 2-year-old by national standards.
Could you describe a typical pre-K day?
Pre-K is an amazing classroom experience for young children. Typically when they come in, the teacher greets them at the door, talks to them about, how are you feeling today, and makes a connection with them right away. Pre-K is all about helping children to make relationships, and so every one of their days starts by relationship building. And when they come in, many times they'll put their things away and they have an opportunity to work individually or with a pal or a small group on a series of tasks that are on that. So maybe it's puzzles or blocks or something that's out for them to work together with. This gives the child time to decompress from being at home. And, the rush in getting to school sometimes makes the child need just a moment to catch their breath. It's kind of like when we get to work and we catch our breath from the morning traffic and, calm down a little and then get ready and get right into work. And that's what that does. And for children who come in and who are already ready to go, there's a task, there's a friend, and it's a good time to start the day. From there, they'll usually go to a large group setting where they get together and they make sure that everybody realizes that we're welcome at school today. So maybe they'll have a talking circle where children will get an opportunity to tell each other what they did since they've seen each other last. Pre-kindergarten children are very social, and they like listening to others and hearing what they've done and telling about themselves. They're very me-oriented. After that part, maybe there's a story or a small lesson, and then it's time for some hands-on learning so that the kids are up and moving. With their attention span as short as it is, about 10-20 minutes is a good time for that first story time, and then off they go to centers. Center time gives them an opportunity to learn through play. So you can learn a lot about sinking and floating if you've got a big bin of water and some things to try out, and why does the pencil float, and why does the metal tanker, why does it sink, that kind of thing. So there are all kinds of purposeful activities around the classroom for the children to do learning, and the teachers walk around and talk to the students about, why do you think that happened, or what do you think would happen if we did this? And just extending on their learning, giving them time to talk to not only each other in this small group, but to the teacher. So lots of oral language and dialogue. Time for math, time for science, time for social studies, time for technology. All of these things are wrapped in the pre-K day. They may go back to large groups, small groups, individual time, centered time. There is a time for rest so that they have a chance to be on their own and for their brain to rejuvenate and get ready for the rest of the day. But then they're up and at 'em again for other learning opportunities, both inside and outside. And pre-K is all about hands-on motion in learning. So you'll see them outside and moving and learning as they move and develop.
What is the difference between pre-K and Head Start?
Well, Head Start is a federally funded program, and it's for children who qualify. The qualifications are a little different, and parents have to qualify by, there's a lot more documentation that they need to bring. In Austin, we are fortunate to have Head Start run by Child Incorporated, and they run the Austin Head Start, which partners with us, and we actually are able to have Head Start in 4 of our pre-kindergarten campuses. So children who go there that qualify for pre-K and that qualify for Head Start are dual enrolled, and those children receive like mental health wraparound services, family and parenting services. There's all kinds of extra things for the children that qualify for Head Start under the Head Start auspice.
AISD has 3 pre-K centers. Can you expand?
Oh, absolutely. So we have 3 sites in AISD that are totally dedicated to early childhood. One site is in North Austin, right off of Anderson Lane and Burnett Road in that area, and that's Lucy Reed Pre-K Demonstration Center. This is a site of about 300 4-year-olds, so the entire school is built with best practices for early childhood in mind. It's an amazing place with an outdoor learning environment that the kids they're growing vegetables, they're learning and exploring in sand and water and art outside, but they also have opportunities in their classroom to do that as well. So that's Lucy Reed. We also have another site north, it's northeast, off of Runberg and Runberg and Cameron in that area. It's right by Dobby Middle School. They share the same campus, but Dobby PreK is separate right on the same property. And Dobby PreK is an amazing place. It's all portable buildings, but they have a gym, they have a cafeteria. I think I left lunch out when we talked about in our schedule. The kids do eat breakfast and lunch. But Dobby is an amazing place. They have opportunities for kids just like at Reed to learn indoors and outdoors and to plant and grow. But Dobby is unique in that it was all made from portable buildings. And it's such a beautiful place that there have been several school districts in our area that are going to replicate that for their own school districts. So that's a very wonderful place for young children. And then AISD built a so Lucy Reed is a school that wasn't being used for children, and we repurposed it for young children. And then we built Dobby with the portables. But in South Austin, AISD built the Anita Uphouse Early Childhood Center, and that center was built from the beginning to be an early childhood school. So the windows are low, and it's a beautiful green school where the lighting comes in from the skylights and the top of the building. It is just an amazing place. So all 3 of those centers are currently helping us with overcrowding in other areas in the city. Those kids go to one of those pre-K centers, but they're also all open to transfer. So if a parent decides that that's the best setting for their child, they can apply for a transfer to send them to a pre-K center. Or if it fits your family better, maybe I have an older child, so I want both of my kids to go on the same campus. You might want to, if your campus has pre-K, then it might be easier for them not to go to an early childhood center.
Does AISD offer pre-K for 3-year-olds?
This is our very first year to offer pre-K for 3-year-olds, and we've kind of a small pilot program. One is at Zavala Elementary, and the other is at Oak Springs Elementary. And both of those are half-day. There's a half-day morning class and a half-day afternoon class. Parents can attend that live in the neighborhood, but also parents who don't live in the neighborhood and would like to provide their own transportation can apply for a transfer to send their 3-year-old there. It's 3 hours in the morning or 3 hours in the afternoon. Children have opportunities to not only work with a certified teacher and a teacher assistant, but they also have opportunities to practice language skills, to practice getting used to school. We are excited about the difference that it's made in the children that are in the 3-year-old program and what we think we'll see when they go to pre-K 4 next year.
Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Come visit, look and see what your neighborhood school looks like. Take a moment to think about registering your child for pre-K. Pre-K registration begins the first week in April. It does go through this summer, but we would love to have you come and register early. Pre-K makes such a difference in the lives of young children, and so this is an opportunity that we hope parents won't pass up.
Jackie, thank you for visiting us today and for all of the information that you provided.
Oh, thank you for allowing me to come. I really appreciate it.
Of course. If you have suggestions for future programming or questions about today's interview, please email me at linda.medina@austinisd.org or call 512-414-9706. I'm Linda Medina Lopez and your host for UpCloseTV.